Pez Whatley is going to be making his debut with the WWF at the start of 1990, and his first match with the company is against you on Wrestling Challenge, January 3rd, 1990. Pez is going to lose to you here, and he's just going to go on to be an enhancement guy with the WWF for a couple of years. Jim, any memories of Pistol Pez?
Pistol Pez, yeah, I got along with him. I worked with him down in Mid-South, and for him to come up, yeah, and he was a good mid-card guy, and he embraced it. As we talked before, he wasn't ticked off that he had to do a job for me. You know, he went out there and he did the best job that he could for me. You know, he'd take the best bump he could. He wouldn't take a half-ass bump. When I finally hit him with my finish, he sold it good, you know, not just after the 1, 2, 3. You know, when I first started, I'd get beat 1, 2, 3, I'd jump right up.
I bet that got you some heat.
You know, everybody hated me. Are you kidding? I'm Duggan out of football. I knew nothing. Right? Yeah, I could have really beat him, you know. But you know, Pistol Fez would lay there and sell it. You know, he did a good job for you. So he was appreciated too. You know, everybody enjoyed working with him because he put you over so well.
Yeah, it's and he's a pretty big name in the territories. He would even in 2021 he became a
He's a good
WWE Hall of
worker. He was
Famer.
he was a good worker, man. He really was. He just wasn't a very big guy though. Especially when you had, I think, JYD up there then too. They were doing the, and Dog was a big imposing guy. Was Dog there then?
Dog had left like a year or so prior, but I see your point.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's it was actually going to be tied into my next question. Like I was going to say, it's because he was such a big name in the territories. He's a WWE Hall of Famer. He's a really well-known wrestler at the time. I was a little shocked to find that he didn't really get much of a run here in the WWF. But to your point, Vince didn't like small guys at the time, right?
Well, Sean, there were small guys there, but in general, the guys were much bigger. I think I bet if you added up the weight of the roster back then, the weight of the roster now, it'd be a huge difference. Because back then it was an arena show, so everybody come to the arena and you'd be sitting in your seats, and Nikolai Volkov would walk by and you'd be going, "Holy, he's a really big guy," Nowadays it's a television show. And they like the flying around. The pendulum will sing back to big guys, but now they like flying around. A different show.
You make a really good point, and that's something I've never heard anybody articulate before, Jim. That it was primarily an arena business back then. So the people in person wanted to see these big, massive guys. When you see somebody on TV, you can't tell if they're 5'10" or 6'4" half the time.
Right, yeah, and it was different because back then they would be saying it's Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Now it's the WWE coming to town. Yeah, and then it was star driven. Now the company is so big, it's Barnum and Bailey coming to town.
Yes,
it's not like the animal trainer Joe, the tiger trainer Bob,
Right.
Just, but not back then. It was they really made a difference who was on the card. If you were on the card with Hogan on top, right, boom.
Man, interesting perspective, Jim. Yeah, again, I've never heard that articulated.
Yeah, SMU, brother.
That's it. You put on one of those button-up shirts, all of a sudden you're out here just dropping this knowledge.
And a tropical shirt, You bet I picked that out, right, honey? Yeah.
She knows.